Good morning to you. Welcome to the morning edition of the show. Promises to be exciting as always. I'm Yemi Adebayo.
And I'm Cecilia Omogbe. And what a way to start this morning. We're starting with Caterpillars. Since the return of Rabiu Ali, Caterpillars are unbeaten. 2 wins in a row. First, it was against Aqua Starlet, a team that hasn't lost this season. Then against Delta Force, high-flying Delta Force, and they thrashed them 6-1. 7 goals it was under the Rabiu Ali, of course, making a remarkable contribution to the game.
All right, so Rabiu Ali's contribution can be evidently seen on Caterpillar's improvement on the league table. On the strength of 2 wins, they've climbed up the ladder, so we'll see how far Caterpillars can go. All right, let's travel abroad, go to Saudi Arabia. That's where it's happening now. And talk about the man in your picture. Anthony Joshua welcomes a fight after regaining his titles, beating Andy Ruiz Jr. by unanimous points decision. As said, is ready to fight anybody, and he has started naming names. Usyk is the name on his lips, so to bring them on, remember, the IBO is saying he has to fight somebody in 180 days. That's about 6 months. So you say, look, bring anybody.
In March. He's good. All right, that's the way it is for Anthony Joshua. It's like no rest for a little bit of rest, and then he starts training again. And something he revealed that he actually had some health issues before Andy Ruiz battle. Well, we'll talk more about that on the show. But then let's move straight to the NBA, where Anthony Davis is the man that is stealing the shows right there. He dropped about 50 points, 20 of 29 from the field, and that was how they were able to dismantle, right, Minnesota Timberwolves by 142 to 125. A remarkable victory for the Lakers. And that's where we're starting from this morning, Yemi. The NBA.
Yeah, that's where we're starting, the NBA. Anthony Davis, we're going to talk a lot about his performance, how it's up there now with Kobe Bryant and LeBron James as people who've been able to amass that kind of haul. By the way, that's his own season high, 50 points. But we'll start with the results, though.
Absolutely. Let's start with the results of all the games that went down last night, of course, early hours of this morning. Starting with the game between Denver Nuggets and the Nets, it was 102 and 105. The Hawks and the Hornets, 122 and 107. The Heat and the Chicago Bulls, that had to go into overtime, but it was the Bulls, the Heat, who pulled off everything they could to get a 110 to 105 victory. For the Philadelphia 76ers, it was 110 and 104 against the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors are struggling right now. Marc Gasol, 0 of 6, finished with a point in 30 minutes. I mean, that was really not cool. And for Pascal Siakam, he went 7 of 18 for his 16 points. That was really poor. When those two guys are poor, then usually they get to struggle. Not looking good for the Raptors recently. The Wizards and the Clippers. It was the Clippers because after allowing more like, how do I put it now? Giannis Antetokounmpo, Friday night was his birthday, 25th birthday. It's so remarkable that guy is just 25 and with what he has done. And the Clippers had to run this one riot after losing to the Bucks that Friday night. But this time around, they were not just ready to lose against the Wizards, where the ones who got awarded in bargain for 135 and 119. Of course, Kawhi Leonard was really playing well, stepping up 34 points, 11 rebounds on the night. Paul George also 27. And at the end of the day, they were able to get something really remarkable.
You know, how far Clippers will go this season will depend on how well those two gel together.
Absolutely. For the Dallas Mavericks and the Kings, it was 106 and 110. The Kings winning.
Our star man, Luka Doncic, ending on the losing side. There's a personal record for him, though, tying up with Michael Jordan, talking about the points haul that he's had. But, well, he still ended up on the losing side against the Sacramento Kings.
Absolutely. And we're talking about what he hauled. It was 27 points, 8 assists, and 7 rebounds. That was his 19th straight game of 25-5. White Jordan turned in 18th consecutive in March 1986. So he is actually on 19. So a remarkable one for him on the night. But then ending up on the losing side, as you mentioned earlier. For the Blazers and the Oklahoma City Thunder, it was 108 and 96. And Lakers and Timberwolves, that's our star match for the day. That was 142 and 125. Really, really huge in that one. Now, this is the game Yemi was trying to talk about earlier, how Anthony Davis was able to drop in 50 points on the night. And of course, it was the show between him and LeBron James. LeBron James never in doubt. He had to drop a double-double. It was 32 for him and 13 assists, putting in all the numbers, and that's why he had that remarkable scoreline, 142.
You know, Cecilia, I don't know if it's too early, but the Lakers are already looking like a well-oiled machine
Okay.
at this point. 14 wins in 15, 4th in a row. And the way LeBron and Davis, it looks as if they speak to each other. Okay, you go high today, I'll just support you. And they do it with ease, with ease.
Yeah.
I mean, Davis got an ovation, not just from the crowd, but from his teammates. Everybody was, they were all up. I mean, and this is a guy who's been playing through the injury barriers.
Yeah.
He had issues with his health, sickness, but yet he's been turning out this. I mean, and there's no way to sugarcoat it. He stole the show. I mean, to steal the show in a game where you had the king also playing, it's not mean feat.
Yeah.
And we're definitely going to see a lot from the former Pelicans guy, and we're going to see a lot from him this season. But I mean, 50 points in a game like this.
It's huge. Now, let's take a look at those guys who put up big numbers. There were so many, but we just have to pick two. LeBron, of course, was supposed to be here, but when you have Anthony Davis dropping 50, you have to opt for him rather than LeBron. LeBron had, as you mentioned, they had 32, and he had a double-double in the game and 13 assists himself. And Anthony Davis, who had a 57 and 6, combined for about 82 points in the game. That's remarkable. That's when you are talking about a remarkable pair. You know, he ended up with 57 and 6. That's for Anthony Davis. Let's move over to Kawhi Leonard. The guy said whenever he's playing very well, of course, the Raptors, Raptors, come on, the Clippers.
I know, the hangover. The hangover.
It's still there, it's just right there in the brain. You keep on like Kawhi Leonard, you can't believe he's leaving Raptors for the Clippers. Well, it's all about the Hollywood show. That's what it was on the night. He had 34 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists on the night to help his team to that
speaking about
victory,
Kawhi,
135-119.
a lot of people have accused him of disrespect, you know, trying to probably load shedding, manage himself very well. But like, I do agree with you. Whatever he turns up, he turns up in style.
Of course.
And you can't disagree with the performances that Kawhi always puts on the table. And that's why a lot of us feel that the Clippers, too, this season, are serious contenders.
Of course, 21-3. Who does that and not be a contender? I mean, if you have to do that and that's the end, well, you know that, well, your team is not good enough. Okay.
Okay. All right. Where do we go from here? Do we go boxing?
Let's leave that. Before we go boxing, let's talk about this one, talking about the FIBA Africa Women's Champions Cup, where you have MFM are in action. And you're going to ask me why only MFM? Simply because the other side, we're talking about Air Warriors, did not travel for the championship. What's the reason? They didn't have enough money to actually do that. Yes, and I was thinking, why didn't they just tell the federation on time so that First Bank can actually go? First Bank finished third. I mean, they could have represented the country. But right now, it's not looking good for Nigeria and also for Air Warriors because sanction might just come in. You can just pull out at the dying minute. You can't go for championships with just 2 clubs coming from every country. In Nigeria, you know, there's supposed to be 2. But right now, we have just 1. And MFM, they won their first game very, very convincingly. We're happy, but as much as a 46 point, right, 96-50 against NNJ. That's the team from Benin Republic, which Nigerian team always have a better off whenever they are playing against them. That's the scoreline right there from Saturday's result. That's the day 2 because they were not in action day 1. Day 2 in Sporting and Inter Club, it was 67-73. And Inter Club were to face MFM on Sunday, the next day, and we're like, okay, after dropping, you know, as much as 96 points, and of course over the team from Benin Republic, maybe they might just get closer to Inter Club. We know Inter Club more like perennial champions, although they haven't won the title since 2016, but then they've been champions about 5 times, and so the most successful clubs when it comes to this particular championship. Now against MFM, there you have the scoreline, 76-43, and only one player from MFM actually was on a double figure, so it wasn't a good one for them. Inter Club, we understand how good they are. On the day, if they want to be really good, they can be very, very good because the way it all went, they just limited MFM as much as 21 points in the second and third quarter combined. That's all they were able to even put up. But then when we were looking at the Inter-Club and all that, what they introduced, the fact that they didn't have, their star players, they had the fringe players even starting. But whatever it is, MFM started so well, they gave up a spirited fight and all that, but then they just couldn't, put enough for them to be able to beat that team that have been dominating basketball. And Angola's side, registered 21 steal, 25 points off fast break. And from the bench, you have like 41 points from the bench. And that was really remarkable for them. But MFM just couldn't put up a solid performance against them. They're making their debut, of course, understandably
it's understandable,
so.
yeah.
And that's why they just couldn't give so much. But then winning one game, at least that's a plus for them. As much as 46 points margin, that's huge. So looking forward to their next game on Tuesday. Hopefully they can be able to bounce back and also win that one.
All right, so wishing them all the best.
All the best, yes. All right, let's leave it now. You want to talk about Anthony Joshua, right?
Yeah, everybody wants to. Everybody wants to. Okay. A lot has been said about Anthony Joshua, the tactics that he deployed in the game. A lot of us here on this side said it wasn't going to last 12 rounds. Somebody was going to go on the floor. We didn't know which one. Either was going to be Ruiz Jr. or Antonio, but we all felt no. I mean, it wasn't going to last 12 rounds, but guess what? It did last 12 rounds. A lot of us thought we're going to see the gladiator in Anthony Joshua. We didn't see that, but he did enough to win that bout and reclaim his title. And I guess, like some people have told those of us that were expecting something explosive from AJ, he did what he had to do and he won.
That's what is important. I mean, there was a particular, there's this particular, journalist that, have a way of just putting the cartoons and all that and try to tell the story in a different way. And the cartoon was really looking funny. How Joshua had to leave the ring, running around, riding the bike and coming back on the on the ring and all that.
Similar to the words Deontay Wilder used to describe the bout.
That's the
saying how disappointed he was.
He was. But then when you people have been saying that he cannot really fight like this. But if you know the reason why Floyd Mayweather remained undefeated, that's the way he was actually boxing.
Very defensive.
He won't allow you. That's the thing. So if you've had a fight with an opponent before and you understand the only way you can defeat him is that way, then you have to go for it. So I don't know why criticism were coming from different
left, right, and
sector
center.
And all that. Look, they wanted a kind of
explosive fight,
explosive bouts like the first one. I mean, you
knockdowns.
can't
Let's
get
just
that
see
knockdown.
knockdowns.
Well, you can't get that because Anthony Joshua felt, okay, the only way I can actually win this bout is this way. You have to look at your opponent and employ the kind of techniques you want to use.
Yeah.
So whether you're going to run around the field and all that and just one punch and the guy is down, it's okay, it's fine by me because I'm not a fan of blood. And
before we listen to Joshua and to buttress what you just said, in all of the interviews that Ruiz had, he probably knew.
Yeah.
Because he said it more than twice, that that was probably the approach Joshua was going to use, try to outbox him, and that's just what he did. Yeah. He knew. A lot of people wanted to see an explosive fight, knockdowns. He did what he had to do. He's now the champion. And a lot of people have said, look, he was already carrying a poison chalice. If he won, you blame him for something. Because Andy Ruiz came out to say, I didn't train well, I partied hard. So if he won, he said, he fought against somebody who didn't train well. If he went at Ruiz, tried to be explosive and lost, I say, just look at him, see the way he lost. So there was always going to be something anybody was going to say about him. But I'm very happy for him. That he's been able, maybe because he has something with Nigeria, that he's been able to retain it. But as somebody who loves explosive boxing. I was disappointed. Okay,
I wasn't disappointed. And I loved the fight because there wasn't much blood, which I usually, when it's like that, kind of clean. I love clean boxing, and that's how it should be. It shouldn't be all about the blood and all that, and swollen faces and all. Except the cut that Andy Ruiz had in the first round. That was the only thing. But outside that, it was kind of clean for me. I mean, I love that. But, there was something he said to people who were actually criticizing him that they didn't see explosive boxing. He said something about, you have to do everything you can to win. So I thought the way he actually fought is more like that of a genius. I didn't see anything wrong with that.
No, it was a tactically sound fight. I'm very sure our guest will give us his perspective when it comes on set. Tactically, yes. It's just like football when a lot of people give Jose Mourinho a lot of flack. He does whatever he needs to win.
To win. That's
it might
what
not
it's
be what you
important.
like. A lot of us have this mindset that this is the way it should be done. You know, a lot of us see boxing as going to the ring, dominate your opponent, and knock him out. You know, but
Not all the time.
I've seen boxers go and try to do that, and in the end, they get beaten. You know, so strategy. It reminds me of Rumble in the Jungle, Muhammad Ali, and Judge Foreman. One and heavy hitter against a strategist, and the strategist ensured that all the things that should be the advantage of this guy, it took it out. And when you're taking out somebody's advantage, you might have to sacrifice some of your own, and that's what AJ did.
And which
sacrifice
is really cool for me.
all, trying to knock you out, trying just sacrifice all that to stay on his feet.
And he did
because
that.
Andy Ruiz was a heavy hitter.
Absolutely, and he dodged all it, and the weak chin, he didn't get any, jab to that. Now, you talked about the fact that he's been saying, he's ready for anyone that is coming.
You have to be fluid. That's champion stuff. If you're doing some, even Deontay Wilder, who seem to be criticizing AJ, said you have to be fluid. You do something for 2-3 rounds, it's not working.
Yeah.
I mean, change it, change it. And he accused Ruiz of doing the same thing all through. But in terms of tactics, there's nobody in this world, anybody who loves boxing, that would not praise AJ in terms of the tactics. And I'm not surprised to hear Amir Khan having good words to say.